Okay, I'm going to first demonstrate how to tie a collar bow, the collar bow. So we've got our 12-inch ribbon that's had been sealed on the edges. This is 1.5 inches wide, and we are going to basically fold this into a third. So we're going to fold it into third parts. So there's one, and there's the second one. And we are going to match the top of this corner to the bottom edge of the folded bow. And I've been doing this so long that that's pretty much even. But if you needed to, you could pull this a little bit longer, adjust it however you need. So we've got, this is the back and then the front. And to make sure, you want to make sure that this is even, because if these are longer or if this is shorter, it's going to make your bow look lopsided and look like amateur did it. To see if it's even, to see if it's balanced, you're going to fold it in half through the very center of the bow. You want to line up the edges, and I'm not used to doing this in front of me, so it's giving me a hard time, but you want to line up both the folded bow and then the bottom part here. It's at this point that you can look at it carefully, make sure that all of these are even. If they're not even, then go ahead and adjust it, because if this is where you're going to, this is the most important part to making a balanced looking bow, one that doesn't have ends too short or too long. So take your time to really get this balanced. This is actually balanced, so meaning these two edges are even, and these two down here are even. I'm going to hold it here because the next step is actually I'm going to stitch it through the center. And by folding this bow in half, you can see I have this center fold right here that I can take my needle through. I've got my heavy duty thread, and I've got one knot on the very end of this thread. With the heavy duty thread, one knot seems to be enough to hold it in place at the bottom here. If you do too many knots, if you do 2 or 3 knots, like sometimes if you're doing other type of sewing, you have to put more than one knot. It actually looks bulky, and it'll show through on your finished bow. So I'm going to start by going up through both of these, the layers of the ribbon through on the bottom, and then taking about 1/4 of an inch apart, I'm going to do what's called a running stitch. I'm just going up to the top and then down through the bottom, about 1/4 of an inch apart. By doing that, and by trying to get them as even as possible, if you do them even, then they'll actually, the bows, the ruffles, the gathering on the bow will actually be even too. So going up to the very top, being careful when you're doing this that you don't catch any of the threads on the back of the ribbon. If your needle catches threads and pulls so that this is actually pulling this in, it'll actually make your bow look misshapen. So just making sure you've got a clean running stitch front and back. The next step is to take this and to gather the bow. And just by pulling it through, you can see that you've already got a pretty nice looking bow. Then I wrap this thread around the center twice. By wrapping it around the center, it keeps us in place so that no matter what the dog is doing, running around or whatever, this is still going to look like a nice bow. I'm going to have the thread ending on the back. So you can see I've got this on the back. Then I'm going to use whatever center piece that I've chosen, whether it's a button or whether it's a bead, and I place that over the center. And I'm going to go, and you try to keep your stitches right around the center so that the button stays around the center. I'm going to go up on the other side, go back. This actually has 4 holes, so I'm going to go in all 4 of the holes. And I do normally run the thread, whether I'm using a 2-hole button or whether I'm using a bead. I will go around it twice, just so that it holds it really good. Because this is the dangerous part. If the dog starts chewing on this and this falls apart, if you do it twice, then that holds it really good, gives you your best safety. I've ended on the back, Now I'm going to attach the rubber band. You don't have to attach a rubber band. It's completely up to you. It makes it simpler once you're going to go to attach it. So I've got my little rubber band, and you have to think about which direction you're going to attach your rubber band. If this was going to be like a collar or an ear bow for like a big standard poodle, then I'd want to attach it horizontally. That way it stays in place and it stays that direction once it's attached. But since this is going around a collar, I'm going to attach it on the center vertically so that the rubber band is going up and down. It's dropped. So I'm laying it next to the center, and I'm doing a stitch at the bottom, and I'm going to do 2 on this ribbon. Rubber band. I'm going to do 1 at the top and 1 at the bottom, and that way when it's attached, it's actually going to stay in place and it's not going to twist on the collar. And I have to, it's catching the side here. So there's on the bottom. Next I'm going to do 1 at the top and just go around the center really fast. Top. Of course, I'm rushing this, so. Okay, so top and bottom. Once it's attached, it's not going to twist. And then I'm going to just put in 2 knots at the end. And so that these knots don't come undone when the dog is running around, I've actually have some glue that I'm going to attach that I'm going to put over the knot. And this glue is actually specially designed for this very thing. It's a beading glue. So here's the glue, fabric cement. I put a little dot. There's my little dot. And it actually smells like model cement. Cut my thread. So there's the back, there's the front. You've got a dog handy, as I do. You grab his collar, and this runs, you can see I can just run this over the collar. And there you go, it's attached. Let's put it back on the dog. And then you can see how cute this is. Ta-da! There's his cute little collar. And so this can just come off. It's that simple.